We're all here to make video games, but sometimes we lack the manpower that a lot of these AAA studios have. So much so that you're the only one working on your dream game. Developing and shipping an entire video game by yourself can easily become overwhelming, terrifying, and even discouraging at times. As a solo developer myself, who recently released their first game, or my first game, Athenian Rhapsody, I wanted to tell you what worked for me as a solo developer with no prior experience and knowing nobody in the industry to get my first game, Athenian Rhapsody, out to the public on all these platforms. I'm just going to go through a few points that I found to be the most important, and the ones that were the least obvious that took me a long time to learn through my development of Athenian Rhapsody. Though they might not seem obvious, they were crucial to the development of my game, and now I think about them every day. So first off, start with a clear vision of the game you want to make. I know it sounds pretty obvious, but it's good to get it out of the way first. Have an end goal. Have something to shoot for. It could be a feeling that you want to give players. It doesn't have to be a complete finished product with everything planned out. You could have a financial goal. Just shipping a video game is a goal in and of itself. It doesn't matter. We're all in this for different reasons. We're all in different situations. Whatever your end goal is, something to shoot for and something that you should have at the end of the tunnel, right? You should have something in mind that you want to complete. As a bonus, throw some milestones in there alongside the way. You're here right now, you just started your GameMaker game, and over here is the end of the tunnel, and that is ship a game on Steam. Maybe there could be 2 or 3 points in here. One could be ship a demo. The other could be go table at a local event. That's a lot of fun. Go on your, just Google it. Google where do you live? Albuquerque? Albuquerque coming up local video game conventions, buy a table, $400, you know what it is. You sit there, you show people your game. It's a great experience, trust me. Like I said before, having a central goal doesn't mean that you have to have your entire game planned out from start to finish. I personally think that that's impossible, and I think it's ridiculous. When I worked on my first game, Athenian Rhapsody, and in my current projects as well, I found this to be impossible. It was very overwhelming. Every time I sat down and tried to think of a narrative or a plan for the entire game, 2 days later, I would hate it and I would change it. It was impossible for me to sit down and write an exact plan to follow. So I used an intuitive approach to game building, and what I did was I chased what was the most interesting to me at the time, right? Some days I wanted to work on the battle system. Some days I wanted to develop a character arc who was interested in artwork. I wanted to develop one that was interested in the gym because, you know, I love to lift. Anyways, my creative process was all over the place, but I still had my end goal and my central vision of what I wanted Athenian Rhapsody to be. I knew what I wanted to describe to the player in the end, the feeling I wanted to give them, and I knew the scale of which I wanted to release this game. Though I didn't have the meat and cheese of the game sandwich completely planned out, I knew how to get the cold cuts, I knew where the aisles were, I had lettuce in the fridge, and both slices of bread were present. The central idea for my game Athenian Rhapsody was making an RPG where players could choose their own story and get a keepsake from it at the end called a Rhapsody. So while I was developing the game, everything in between was focused around that. Try your best to organize your end goal, your milestones, and a pathway to getting there. This will help you break up the work so that it won't seem like such an uphill battle developing the entire game by yourself. That's something they don't tell you when you start making games. You gotta do the whole thing. You gotta do the whole thing, and it's a pain in the butt. But breaking it up by milestones and smaller goals to your end goal will make it feel more like you're just reaching the next step more than you have this big, looming, dark shadow of releasing the game over your head. Because there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot you gotta do. That way you can give yourself little rewards. You finished your demo, you got it on Steam, you're getting player feedback, your life is great. You get a little reward, you go to the store, you get a cupcake, it's amazing. You're chipping away at your ultimate goal. If you want to take this one step further, something personally I do is I have this whiteboard calendar behind me, and I write everything down that I have to do the next day. That's because now I have multiple projects going on and stuff like that. I have merchandise coming. There's a lot of stuff going on. But I like to stay organized to a T. Maybe that's not you. Maybe that is. Maybe you like to do it digitally on Google Calendar or something like that. Set yourself up these small victories, and eventually they will add up to your one ultimate large victory. Number 2, make sure to give yourself the tools you need to succeed. What do I mean by that? I don't mean buying the nicest computer on the market. Listen, I'll explain. There are a lot of people making games out there. Agree or disagree? A lot of them are making games in the same exact genre that you are. More often than not always, you want your game to stand out amongst the other games in your genre. That doesn't mean you want to trample them, you don't want them to do bad, anything like that. You're most likely not really competing. This is more of a collaborative space, but you do want to give your game something unique, you want it to be high quality, and you want a player to select it out of an array of games. Correct? Right? Nobody makes a game and says, man, I hope this thing is right smack in the middle of mediocrity, you know? No, you want it to be special. You want it to give players a special experience. You want it to stick out. You want to make something good. Something that's often overlooked is putting a fair amount of studying in before actually developing the game and making decisions. It's very easy to jump into tutorials for whatever genre you want to make and just, start making something function, make something fun. It's fun to make things. I think it's really fun to develop. But at a certain point, study your genre. Learn about what you want to do. This could be in the form of watching documentaries on the development of other games that you've played and you respect, playing other games that you think you can learn from, maybe in your genre, maybe outside of your genre, learning about developers, learning about companies, learning about what made certain games in the past that were very successful special. We live in an age where there is an unfathomable amount of information out there. Personally, when I was developing Athenian Rhapsody, I took a lot of inspiration from the origins of Pokemon Red, Blue, and stuff like that. I found it very valuable to learn about how their trading and their social features in the game made Pokemon stick out as an RPG in their time and why it led to their success. And there was a lot of reading that I found on this. I watched some great documentaries about the development of the Mother series. There are a lot of tools that you could fill your brain with even if you're not at the computer developing, programming, making art, whatever. Spinning your wheels, finding information, and educating yourself is a crucial tool to give yourself the knowledge to apply to your own games, apply to your own game development, and grow from. Look, I was a C's get degrees kid in school. I was never a studier. Look behind me. I was an art major and stuff. I'll put some art on screen. But I was never really a big proponent into studying until I started doing it on my own for my game Athenian Rhapsody, and I would say that it helped me immensely. If you want to be the best at algebra, you're going to do a lot of algebra problems. If you want to be the best at making a platformer, you're going to read about, watch content on, play, and talk about platformers probably a fair amount. Gathering this information is going to make you a stronger designer and developer with more knowledge to pull from when you're faced with gameplay decisions to make. If you're not sure how to handle a certain interaction like a platform or something, I don't make platformers, I'm an RPG guy, come on. Think about some games that you've played or you learned about, think about how they handled it, you have references now. Studying is 100% probably the most important, if not one of the most important aspects of making a game if you want it to stand out and you want it to be the best quality that you can be. Of course you want it to be the best quality you can make it, that's why you have to give yourself the tools to succeed. I can't do long division if I've never seen a long division problem in my life, It doesn't make sense. I can't make fresh mozzarella from scratch from milk if I've never seen how to do it. I can't just guess, right? I could probably try. Will it be mozzarella? No, it'll probably be blue cheese. Anyways, go do your homework. Alright, here's the one everyone hates. I have my script there on my TV. Marketing and networking. You don't have to explain it to me. I know that you're working hard on your game. And I know it's coming out awesome. I know that you're putting lots of yourself into it. You're putting your blood, sweat, tears. Your friends are loving it. It's really cool. It looks great, too. You think it's going to be a hit. But there's one small problem. There's one small overshadowing horrible problem that's going to bite you in the ass. Nobody knows it exists outside of your room, outside of your dungeon. I'm not trying to offend you with the dungeon comment. I'm in the dungeon. You might not want to show it off because, this isn't done. This could be better. You think the art sucks. This, that, it's not perfect. This looks like a preschooler made it. Oh, this is a placeholder. Guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. To the average person who's going to watch your content in your game, they're not thinking about these little nitty-gritty things. Nobody's going to look at your work more critically than you are right at this second. You may not realize it, but as a solo developer, you actually have a huge advantage over these AAA studios and all these other bigger companies, I guess, That advantage is that you can put your own personality and yourself, you watching the video. You can make content about your game in transformative ways, relying on yourself and your personality that people will love and people will follow. Show the world whatever state your game is in and show them what makes it or you unique. At a certain point, the game you're showing off is half the battle. You're also selling yourself as a young or old aspiring developer. People want to see who you are and what you're thinking when you develop this portion. They want to interact with you. They want to see your genuine passion for the game. They want to spam the comments for months with add squig until you finally crack, and there's no context as to what the squig is, but eventually you do add squig because it like actually becomes a problem. Like people are emailing you, it's getting weird, they really want you to add squig to the game, so you add squig. You think of something that squig is and you add it with... Oh, I'm actually getting news from corporate. That just happened. That was just a me experience. You probably won't have the squig thing happen to you. Anyways, what I mean is that a great way to build a community around your game is by presenting yourself in your truest form, showing them your personality, showing them your passion for the project, and just being yourself, having some fun with it. Bottom line is you are what makes your game special. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and show the world your work. More likely than not, even people who aren't fans of your genre may end up supporting you based on your passion or energy alone. They might find similarities in you as a person too. And this is how you start to build a community. A loyal community. Personally, when I started out with Athenian Rhapsody, I started out in my apartment at college. I would film the screen on my 2015 MacBook and I would yell about whatever I was doing. I had several videos going over the puzzle I made called Spell Richard. There's really no merit behind this. This isn't an impressive screenshot. I didn't reinvent the wheel here, but just the energy, I guess the humor and stuff like that behind the video made people interested in the project. It made them interested in supporting me as a developer, and they carried that energy all the way from the conception of my project all the way to release. Luckily, whatever resources you have, whatever amount of comfort you have with expressing yourself online, you don't have to show your face or anything like that. Utilize it. It is your advantage. All right, here's another one that you won't find on the any blog posts or anything like that. Take things one step at a time. Seems obvious, right? Like I said before, when you get into game development, nobody tells you that you have to develop the entire game. If you knew that, you probably wouldn't have started, but now you're in too deep. You skipped your niece's ballet recital to work on the save system, and it didn't work and it's returning errors. This is getting ugly. It's getting ugly. That annoying bug that happens every once in a while, like every 5 days it'll happen once and you're not sure why and you can't really track down. You have to fix that too. Yeah. Been there, done that. I promise you, it's years of my life. Anyways, point is, there's a long, daunting list of things to do when you're trying to create and release a video game all by yourself. No matter how big or small the game may be, you want it to be released in a good state. Probably. I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know what you're doing. Most likely, let's say you're even just making like a small thing. You're going to charge $5 for it on Steam. It's a fun little project. You still want it to work, right? You still want it to have controller support. Thinking about everything that you have to do at once is a pretty good way to make yourself want to throw up. Slow down, make a list, get a little bit organized, and check off boxes as you get to them. Sometimes you might not want to work on the most, necessary task. You don't want to fix that bug. Some days you only have energy to do this one cutscene, right? There's no use in forcing yourself to debug that one thing at this current moment. You're going to have to do it eventually if your energy is going to be better spent somewhere else. Do some light reorganization of what you're going to work on. You're a solo dev. Nobody's relying on you to finish this one thing by a deadline. Usually. I don't know. I don't want to build bad habits, but I'm basically just trying to tell you, cut yourself some slack. You'll get to it eventually. If your energy and your brain is tuned into dialogue writing today and it's not into the technical stuff, swap them around. Another day, guess what? You're going to wake up and you're going to want to do the technical stuff. You're not going to be feeling very creative. You're not going to be feeling like writing epic dialogue, It's just how we are. A lot of us solo developers have families. We go to school. We have 9 to 5s. We even have 8 to 6s. We can't all realistically put a consistent amount of energy and work into our games at all times, right? As much as it's great to put a full days of work into your game every single day, it's not realistic for all of us. And you can't hold yourself to the standard that you have to be working on it at all times. Don't abandon your personal life to work on your game. Don't abandon your social life. Don't abandon your health. You can get up and take a week off. You can go skiing in Vancouver or whatever you want to do and come back and your game is still going to be there. Maybe you need to get the gears turning a little bit to get back into it, but that's perfectly fine. The gears are going to start spinning real soon, all right? You got to try and keep everything in a balance or else you're going to burn out or you're going to be unhappy in one category of your life, Some of us have kids, not me. I'm like 25. I know some people are probably younger and have kids, but I don't have kids personally that I know about. Some days you're going to have no time to work on it. Some days you're going to have nothing but time. These things aren't always going to be equivalent in a one-to-one balance. Some days you're going to be working late. Some days you got to pick up your sister from soccer. Some days you got to mow the lawn. Some days you got to do this. And that's all right. Sometimes life is just more important. Please don't beat yourself up if you think that you haven't been able to get to your game as much as you'd like to. Sometimes things are just more important. Look, if you're just being lazy, be honest with yourself. You're being lazy, it's alright. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you gotta relax. I do it too. I go to bed like a normal human. But life happens. Life is important. What keeps me moving at a swift pace personally in my development, my RPG, and my other things is that when I'm not in my computer programming, let's say I have a long drive to make, wheels are turning and I'm thinking about what I want to do next. I'm thinking about how I want to develop a certain character. I'm thinking about what I want to do in a certain battle. I'm always planning things out when I'm not at my computer so that when I am, I can implement them pretty quickly. Personally, I keep a lot of documents on my phone and stuff like that where I write down everything I think about. That's just what I like to do. If you don't like to do that, that's fine. If you like a physical notepad, I don't know. But personally, I'm always thinking of things. I'm always jotting them down because when I do have my computer time, that helps me just hit the floor going. I know what I'm about to do. I have a checklist of things that I want to do and they're already thought of. In the gym is a time where I'm writing down things all the time. I'm standing there on my phone, staring at it. At the tricep thing, and people are looking at me probably thinking I'm texting people, but no, I'm writing things about Thundergoober. I'm writing things about his emotions and stuff like that. All right, now I'm going to tell you the secret to being a solo developer. This is the part you've been waiting for. All right, this is going to make it 10 times easier. The real secret to being a solo developer on a video game. Are you ready? The secret to being a solo developer is not actually being a solo developer. Ask for help. None of us can do it all. I promise you, I can't do it all. If anybody can do it all, it's me. But I can't. It's true. We all need a helping hand and a second set of eyes at time. In my case, I knew that if I had to make all the music on my own, most players would play Athenian Rhapsody on mute. I tried. I'll see if I could find a clip of the music here. This was the song I made, and it's in the game somewhere, some way, shape, or form. So I picked up a team member to do Athenian Rhapsody's soundtrack, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I also realized that one of my big goals and my dreams was to have Athenian Rhapsody on consoles, mostly the Nintendo Switch, but I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what to do, so I teamed up with the publishing company Top Hat Studios, who I'm still working with, and they helped me bring the game not only to a much larger scale than I would have been able to by myself, and help me learn about the industry and do all this stuff, but they also helped me bring the game to mobile, consoles, and other platforms. Though I started this game, Athenian Rhapsody, completely alone in the dark, I didn't know one person, I didn't know one thing about programming, I was in school for graphic design, I had a little computer, that was it. Eventually, I grew a small team around me who helped me with things that I lacked. Was I still developing the whole game by myself? Yes. Was it still a pain in the ass? Yes, of course. I years of my life, like I said earlier, definitely down the drain. But by relying on others and asking for help when I needed it, it was able to make me a much stronger solo dev. I was able to accomplish much more. I was able to focus on the things that I knew I was strong in. There's lots of help to be found, and many people actually genuinely want to help you achieve your goals for free. It's crazy. The community GameMaker Discord server actually has channels which are all called like help or something like that, and you can just go in there and ask for help. And usually people will help you, and they don't even charge. I'm in there all the time. And there are a lot of spaces like this online all across the internet. So the secret is, you don't have to be a solo dev if you don't want to be. Most of us aren't really solo devs. Yeah, maybe you're a solo developer, but rely on other people. Ask for help when you need it. Please. Not even those of us who know exactly what we're doing at all times never need a second set of eyes or something like that. Sometimes you'll just miss a little line, you'll miss a little variable. Having a fresh set of eyes is always good. Being a solo dev can be daunting, but it's doable. By making sure to mostly stay organized and just knowing where to go when you do encounter these problems and taking it easy on yourself, you can keep that fire burning for a long time and create your dream game. Create and release your dream game with an audience. And they don't make fun of you and they don't say mean things. They don't make you add squig to the game. They don't do that. You could even give them a name, like the Rhapsodogs. That's what I did. Yeah, we do rah-rah chains in the Discord. It's fun. It's fun. I tag everybody and I go rah rah, and they do. But keep in mind that not every solution is the same for everybody. Maybe the points that I said aren't too great for you. Another important rule of thumb is to recognize that not every solution is a one-size-fits-all. What works for me might not work for you. Trust your own judgment and your own gut when it comes to making decisions about your work process and your game. A lot of people tried to give me advice when it came to decisions about Athenian Rhapsody and my own workflow, and I didn't listen to anybody. I listened to like one or two people every once in a while. But usually I didn't listen to anybody. And I am so glad I didn't. because they were stupid. No, they just didn't know me. They didn't know my game. Only I knew that because it was in my heart. There's lots of help and knowledge for programming and starting up the actual technical side of things, but not so much when it actually comes to the process of getting your game out there. Because of this, I'm opening up one-on-one classes for game development. If you're a developer of any size project, any kind of project, whatever you're doing, and you need some help with marketing, building a community, releasing your game, game design, planning this all out, or even just navigating some issues you might face, I have a form linked in this video's description where you could submit your inquiry, tell me what you're looking for, your email, and I'll reach out and maybe we could set something up. This is something new I'm trying. Like I said, there's a lot of technical information out there, but not so much of this nuanced kind of stuff. So I wanted to open this up on a one-to-one basis. I'm hoping this provides a resource for anybody who needs a second set of eyes, either regularly or just once, and can use some of the information that I have, you know? I've made a lot of mistakes. I fell on my butt a lot. I've had a lot of doors closed on my face. And, you know, if I could help you avoid doing the same thing, I would like to. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of these points, if any of these things helped you. If you want to know anything else about your game development journey that I could try and shed some light on, please just comment it, and I would love to do my best. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to give me a score from F to A+, please do that in the comments.